But there's also no evidence that what he says is true. And there's also no guarantee that all those promises will have to be fulfilled. And I'm not sure about other people in this room, but some of the labor folks that I know would say that sometimes companies lie. What we do know about steel facilities and iron manufacturing facilities is that they pollute a lot. And if you don't believe me, you can go to Granite City and spend some time there. They have a great running trail around the slag piles. You can see it up close. But even closer to home, we know what smelters look like. Much closer to home. We know what smelters do to your economy. We know how many people they employ in your town. We know how much economic prosperity they contribute. Because we have Herculaneum right next door. We have people in Herculaneum whose yards are periodically replaced about every 3 to 4 years because of recontamination. And that's from stuff that's not coming out of the stack, because that stuff that comes out of the stack travels further away. It's from stuff coming through the buildings and off the side and off the trucks. And that community is continually impacted by this. And mothers have to worry about where their children play. And property owners have to worry about their property values. And people have a hard time selling their house. And they have to live with the burden of basically, 19th century technology that was a good idea at the time, because the town grew up around the smelter. We know what that looks like. So we need to think critically before we commit ourselves to some unknown. One of the challenges that I've had with this project is getting enough facts on it to make some strong comments. There's no data out there. There is no facility processing iron ore using this technology. I can't get an engineer to look twice at it because it doesn't exist. And so the advice that they have for me is, well, when you get some actual data, come back to me. When you get the actual permit application and see what technology we're talking about, come back to me. And that might be what we want to think about telling Wings. Give us some actual data and some actual technology and come back. Because what Bob says sounds great, but what we know from personal experience is not that situation. In these comments, some of these are just to the Planning and Zoning Commission's report, so they're very specific to that document. A couple of the questions that we need to be asking as a community here is not just what, which is what we've been told by Bob. Bob told us what. He's told us it's an iron ore refining process, and there'll be coke piles, and there'll be this, and there'll be that. How do you know that? How do you know there's 600 jobs there? If this technology doesn't exist anywhere, where does that data come from? Show me the data. Ronald Reagan had it right when he said trust but verify. We need the data. Where do you come up with these assumptions? The Planning and Zoning report says, when it talks about property values, it says the proposed facility does not have any indication that the construction of the proposed facility will have any direct adverse effect on residential property values. How do they know that? What data was used to reach that conclusion? Well, how do you define direct adverse effect? Does the Commission anticipate any indirect adverse effects? So there's a lot more questions to ask about this that haven't been answered. And they're important questions, particularly if you're signing up for a 100-year commitment. There was a recommendation in the Planning and Zoning report for soil and water testing, which isn't a bad idea. But you need to know what you're testing for, and when and where and how. So that process needs to be fleshed out before you put it in writing. The other concern that sort of stood out to me, because I'm very familiar with what could be fill material here in the county, They're talking about bringing in fill material to raise this coke pile site. And I think it would be a good idea to specify that that's not lead slag, because you've got 40 acres of lead slag right up the road on Joachim Creek. That's, according to the document I received today, going to be covered up and hopefully locked in place. But you might want to put that prohibition in your document just to make sure that none of that finds its way across the city border. There's a couple of other issues that I raised here. I wanted to correct for the record the contention that city ordinances can't be stricter than federal when it comes to air quality issues, and that is not true. The law actually says if federal law is silent on an issue, then you can be stricter than federal, because there is no federal. You can have your city ordinances. Some of the issues where communities have had to take this on is with odor regulations, because the federal rules are silent on odor, so communities are free to make those rules. And I've got the case references in here for those of you who are interested. The clause that the planning and zoning folks put into the report to you in the conversation about the barge dock has a clause in there that seems to render the entire point worthless, because it says the barge dock will be limited to wings except as otherwise provided by the lease agreement and amendments thereto. And it seems to me that that's allows for a pretty big loophole. So I'm still skeptical about this project, and it's not because I'm against jobs, and it's not because I'm against new technology, and it's not because I'm against clean technology. It's because I'm experienced with polluting facilities that will say anything to get what they want and leave a community to clean up the mess. It's because I'm the person whose mother, who gets phone calls from mothers about are their children safe. They call me. If this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, we need to see proof. Because I would love to be able to endorse a project with all the promises that this one is bringing to the table. But I haven't seen anything to convince me that that's the case. I have absolutely no faith in DNR because I've seen the way they've regulated Doe Run Smelter. I've seen that facility out of compliance for more than 3 decades. I've seen hardly any enforcement actions taken. So if you're going to rely on the EPA and DNR to protect you, you're making a mistake. The people who care the most about Crystal City are the people who live in Crystal City. So don't push that off on people in Jefferson City or Kansas City, because it will not serve you well. So I encourage you to ask not just what the promises are, but how do you know that? How can you prove it? Where's that data come from? And will you show it to me? And I invite you to share that with the rest of us so that we can become equally convinced and equal advocates for this project. One of the gentlemen who was quoted here tonight said, good businesses will bring in more good businesses. And the corollary to that is bad businesses will not. Herculean struggles, because they have one big business that's left 110 years of a legacy of toxins. Don't go there. Think very carefully about what is very important to you and your community and fight for that. Thank you.